October 29, 2017, 400 a.m. EDT. Before America's Twitter-loving president made it to the Oval Office, a recurring theme was that the U.S. should have gotten hold of Iraq's oil after toppling Saddam Hussein. There's this: we should have gotten more of the oil in Syria, and we should have gotten more of the oil in Iraq. Dumb leaders. Donald J. Trump at Real Donald Trump, March 16, 2012. And this: I still cannot believe we left Iraq without the oil. Donald J. Trump at Real Donald Trump, January 23, 2013. And don't forget this: we should have taken the oil in Iraq, and now our mortal enemies have got it, and with no opposition. Really dumb US polls. I'm so angry. Donald J. Trump at Real Donald Trump, August 4, 2014. Well, here's the thing. America has Iraqi oil, and the loser in all this turns out to be Donald Trump's favorite Middle East nation. Okay, US refiners are buying the stuff, rather than taking it, whatever that might mean, but the volume of Iraqi oil entering the US has been on the rise since the middle of 2015 and has continued to increase this year, despite OPEC's output cuts. Imports of Iraqi crude have averaged 600,000 barrels a day so far this year, according to data from the Energy Information Administration at the Department of Energy. That's up by 50% from 2016 and is almost 3 times as much as US refiners bought from Iraq in 2015. The flow through American ports has exceeded 1 million barrels a day 3 times since the start of June and weekly air data. Iraq ascending. No impact from OPEC cuts on US oil imports from Iraq on the rise since mid-2015, sources Bloomberg, Energy Information Administration. Meanwhile, purchases of crude from Saudi Arabia have been going in the opposite direction. The Saudis have made good on the promise oil minister Khalid al-Faleh made after the May OPEC meeting to markedly reduce the rise to the world's biggest consumer. Exports to the US will drop measurably, he told reporters after chairing a meeting between the group and other major producers in Vienna on May 25. Saudi exports to the US have fallen to the lowest since at least 2010 after May's OPEC meeting, sources Bloomberg, Energy Information Administration, and they have. After averaging close to 1.2 million barrels a day in the first 6 months of 2017, they have fallen to around half that level since the start of September. True, a couple of big storms in the Gulf of Mexico have hit individual weekly numbers, but they bounced back after the storms passed and delayed cargoes were able to discharge. The net result of all this: US crude oil imports from Iraq have exceeded those from Saudi Arabia in 3 of the past 4 weeks. That would have seemed unthinkable as recently as last year. At that time, flows from Saudi Arabia were exceeding those from Iraq by somewhere between half and 1 million barrels a day. Reversal of fortune: the US refiners are now importing more crude from Iraq than from Saudi Arabia, sources Bloomberg, Energy Information Administration. It is easy to see this solely as the effect of OPEC output cuts and Saudi Arabia's decision to target the highly visible US market since June. But a look at the charts shows that the shift began well before the advent of OPEC's current policy. Part of the reason may lie in Iraq's 2015 decision to split its exports into 2 distinct grades based on the quality of its crude exports. The new Basra heavy grade is well suited to sophisticated US refineries that can turn the thick, treacly crude into gasoline and diesel, and it has found a ready market there. Saudi Arabia, in contrast, has focused exports on its lighter, more valuable grades, keeping the heavier ones to feed its own refineries. As I wrote here, Saudi Arabia is already losing market share to its supposed OPEC and non-OPEC partners in key oil markets in Asia, where it is seeing Iraq, Iran and Russia catching up, passing its own sales. Now, it seems, its place in the US market is also slipping away. Its fight back will almost certainly come, though it may be delayed until at least 2019, now that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman backed the extension of the group's output cuts. As for the US, it is now getting around 1/6 of Iraq's oil exports. Not enough for the president, perhaps, but it has the twin advantages of being legal and a lot cheaper in terms of both blood and treasure, than trying to take it. This column does not necessarily reflect the opinion of Bloomberg LP and its owners. To contact the author of this story, Julian Lee in London at julie1627@bloomberg.net, or contact the editor responsible for this story, Jennifer Ryan at julian13@bloomberg.net.